Good morning, friends. We're here again, and the move is getting closer. The move to Kreklinbo farm and making my new adventure, the Channel 1 trainings box, a reality. I'm sitting actually in front of a lot of boxes, but a different kind. Today, I thought I should address what I actually mean by the motto I have set for my trainings box, which is redefining functional training through somatic practice. And before we can redefine anything, we might want to start by getting on the same page about how it's actually defined in the first place. So, a lot of people nowadays know what functional training actually means or is supposed to mean. It has become quite well known as a physical training that consists of compound movements, so movements that involve more than one joint, and that support us in doing things in daily life. For example, a squat is a way to practice getting in and out of a chair, which is useful in daily life. Or an overhead press allows us to use that top shelf, in the kitchen, for example, or wherever, because we put heavy things there and take them back down with control. So functional training means physical movements that serve a function outside the box. It's in service of supporting our lives outside the box. And that's fantastic. And I've been doing functional training for 8 years, and I love it, and I'm gonna keep doing it. And I'm also a somatic coach. So I have looked at functional training from the beginning through a slightly different lens. And what is that? So we think about the body in training when we are in these physical spaces and communities, mostly as a rather mechanical and technical instrument that allows us to physically do stuff. And I mean, yeah, that's true, but it leaves a whole lot on the table. A somatic approach still, of course, centers the body, because soma, literally in Greek, means body. But it's not just about using a fancy term instead of just saying body. Soma is a more holistic concept that understands the body as a physical expression of who we are being in our wholeness. So it sees the body as an expression of our sensations, our feelings, our thoughts, the stories that we have internalized, the experience that we've had throughout our lifetime. And that has constituted our physical shape, how we have been shaped into who we are being. Muscles, soft tissue, skeleton, not so much, but muscle, soft tissue, because that's the stuff that we influence by living how we are perceiving life. Physical training, obviously, also always impacts our shape, and it is a form of physical practice. But honestly, the few hours that we spend inside a box cannot make up for a lifetime of practice outside the box, because we practice all the time. Everything that we are doing is a kind of physical practice, and we often, mostly actually, practice according to an unknown script, a script that we have internalized and totally embodied over many years, starting in infancy. We have learned to do things with our bodies that will help us meet our most important needs. And those needs are love, safety, dignity, and belonging. So if we have, for example, the experience that our caregivers withdraw from us, if we set boundaries or if we are assertive, then we can respond in different ways to that. We can respond by pleasing them and trying to make ourselves invisible, or less assertive, or more quiet, or we can also rebel and push against that. Whatever strategy, though, that we adopt, the strategy that helps us meet our most urgent needs the most, and that's different for every person, will become our go-to. It will become a practice that we do over and over and over again, because it ensures how we get our needs met. It becomes part of our shape. It becomes embodied. It becomes actually who we are, because we don't just have a shape. We are our shape. We act from our shape. And we know from sports science, it takes about 300 hours for a move to become part of muscle memory. It takes about 3,000 hours for a move to be fully embodied. It means it's automatic. We don't have to think about it. It just happens. And in life, we can think, well, I don't want to react in a certain way anymore. It's not serving me. But if there is enough pressure, we will react from that shaping, because it is embodied and we cannot outthink that. It is only through another kind of practice that we can reshape. So if we just act from our shaping, it leaves us with very little control over how to do things differently when it most counts. So our shaping becomes very apparent when we move, and especially when we move under pressure. And resistance training is called that for a reason. Something is resisting our efforts. There is pressure there. Strength training, functional training, they provide ample opportunity to observe how our bodies habitually respond under a certain kind of pressure. They reveal our shaping. And they also, and that's the good news, provide ample opportunity to reshape. So if we know what we have been practicing, and we will see that through our training, that's what I'm bringing in as a somatic coach, not just the physical, technical part, technique super important, but also what do we see here? How is that reflected in how you're doing life outside the box? We can intentionally practice something else. We can work on our limitations and then expand the range and the quality of our movements. And with that, we also expand the range of what becomes possible for us outside the box. And that's functional training redefined through the lens of somatic practice. And I'm gonna expand on this in videos to come. And if you have any questions or are curious about this, don't hesitate to reach out. And yeah, comment or PM me, or wherever you encounter me, drop me a line. Thanks. See you in the next